All right, one of the questions we get in the clinic every day is, how long will it take for you to get better? And it's kind of a loaded question because there's a million different variables that go into answering that question, and no two people are the same. So what we want to do today is just give you a little bit of a framework that can help you start kind of teasing out where you may be in terms of a quick recovery or a longer term recovery. So good example, we deal with a lot of baseball players here in the clinic, and I'm going to give you an example of 2 different baseball players with similar injuries or pain points, but way different recovery processes. Okay, so player 1, we'll call player 1, comes in, elbow's hurting, he started noticing it bugging him, maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. He's been resting, hasn't been getting better, but it's a fairly acute injury, and he hasn't really been injured in the past, and he's just looking to get back on the mound. So we've done a video in the past that breaks our recovery process down into 4 main pillars, okay? And if you want to go back and see that, you can look on our page. But basically your 4 pillars that you have to consider when you're going through a rehab process are your structure. Is there anything physically damaged that's going to limit your recovery in any way? Okay, what's your mindset around your recovery? How well do you move? And what is your capacity or your strength and control over your movement? Okay, so when we break down player 1, okay, again, he comes in only having issues for a couple weeks. He's got a little bit of tenderness in his elbow. It's way more muscular. There's nothing damaged in his ligament, anything crazy like that. So his structural issues are really not too much. He's got some trigger points in his muscles we'll have to help work out, but nothing crazy. All right, his mindset. He's never really had an injury before. He isn't coming in, super concerned that he has a Tommy John, needs Tommy John surgery or anything like that. He's mentally in a pretty good place to kind of make a recovery. He just wants to get out of pain and get back as quick as possible. All right, so his mindset's pretty good as well. Okay, his movement, again, he hasn't really had too many issues in the past, no previous injuries. Definitely some restrictions that are going to be causing his elbow to get overstressed, but they don't seem to be long-standing or haven't been anything too chronic. All right, so his movement issues are relatively minimal as well, and if we fix those up real quick, then we should do pretty well. And then his capacity, he's been training, he's been throwing, he hasn't been out for any prolonged period of time. He lifts weights regularly, he's in pretty good shape. So this also isn't much of an issue as well. All right, so when we look at player 1 across the 4 pillars that we think of with rehab, his issues are relatively mild, right? There's not a whole heck of a lot going on in any one of the 4 pillars. So his ability to make a quick recovery is going to be much higher than player 2, who we're going to talk about here in a second. So if you go on our website and you see the reviews of, next level have me back throwing in 2 weeks, or it's only been a couple visits and I'm out of pain. Those are the people that come in with that type of presentation, where all of their issues are relatively mild, and there's not a whole heck of a lot we have to do to improve a couple of little things, and we're good to go. All right, now on the contrary, let's take player 2. Comes in, same elbow issue, okay, structurally, same spots, tenderness, trigger points in his muscles in his elbow, same kind of deal. But this guy, he's been having pain on and off with it for 3 years. He's had to take time off of throwing. He's just hasn't been able to be healthy for a prolonged period of time. He's had some other issues, maybe some back pain, hip issues. Has some other things that he's had in the past. So his issues are more chronic. All right, his mindset, obviously, he's kind of when he's been through the ringer, he's been to other therapists, or he's been to physicians who have told him certain things. He has a lot built up in his mind that he has to contend with as part of his rehab process. All right, his movement dysfunction, since he's had pain for several years, okay, he's had issues in other areas of his body, are much more pronounced. Is the way his injury ties in with his shoulder, or his hips, or his core, or other areas, flexibility in other areas are a big problem. So his movement dysfunctions are much more. And his capacity, because he hasn't been able to train consistently or throw consistently, he's always having to take time off, is not where it needs to be as well. So while it's the same injury, okay, the differences through the pillars of his rehab are going to dictate his recovery in a much different way. So player 1 versus player 2, you tell us who's going to take longer to get better. Now we'll have success with both, but it's imperative that they understand all the factors going into the rehab process and what is going to make what's going to dictate the duration or answer that question of how long will it take for me to get better. So we definitely plan on having more content on this. You can break these pillars down in an infinite amount of detail, but for now, that's a good framework to start with, and hopefully it can help you answer the question of how long will it take for me to recover.